Welcome, everyone, to another exciting episode of We Empower. I'm thrilled to have you all with us today. So sit back, relax, and get ready to be inspired. Let's make today count. And today's episode, we were diving into some standout moments from the previous week and from the previous time in our talk. And I'm very, very much looking forward to the song, which hints us at the intriguing personality of our special guest for today. Today will join us Ole, and I'm very much looking forward to our talk. Afterwards, I will present a book, which will be a life changer for some of you, and I will end up with results of some really inspiring research. So let's dive into first the song selected by Ole. Welcome to the show, Ole Behrens-Carlsson. I'm very happy to have you here today and the radio show We Empower.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
We had a great start already with a song you sorted out, and it is a special song sitting on the dock of the bay. I mean, we can say a lot of things about this song. What does it resonate you listening to this song?
I think I have two different approaches to this song. One is that it used to be one of the favorite songs of my father, and that I loved very much, and that unfortunately left this world too early 5 years ago. So this is something that, of course, reminds me of him and the time that I had together with him.
Yeah.
On the other side, it's like, I'm a person who's really busy, and this song is something that always keeps me slowing down and taking a bit like an outside perspective on my life and what I'm actually doing at the moment. And that's a very important song for me in these situations.
Yeah, I think it's very timeless and universal, and it gives a kind of soul-stirring blend of heartfelt, and you put yourself into a completely other world, right?
Yeah, that's true. It's
It
true.
made, it
It's so
made us
important
with me.
sometimes to just sit down and just relax and rest your bones, as he sings.
You describe yourself as 25 years leverage digitalization for positive impact, and you're a seasoned leader, adaptively fosters organizational growth and innovation. And I mean, if I have to introduce you, and I'd love to do now, I would say much more sentences about you. I mean, you stand really out for transformative force in digitization. And the ones who know you are always bringing this in contact with the countries your name seems to be addicted to, right? Scandinavish, where the digitization sits, where also the collaborative power intelligence sits, where every source sits, which we called innovative, close to or in Europe. And you have a career spanning indeed over 25 years dedicated to making technology a catalyst for meaningful change. You're renowned for driving large-scale digital transformations across diverse sectors, consistently unlocking new avenues for organizational growth and innovation. And you have spearheaded initiatives that modernize processes, enhance customer experiences, and optimize operational efficiencies, setting new industry benchmarks. Your strength, I would say, lie from that what I know about you lies not only in your deep technology acumen, but also in your ability to lead and inspire cross-functional teams toward shared goals and fostering a culture by collaboration, which a lot of people talk about, but much little or only little can put this into action, and continuous improvement. So you bring a human-centered approach to digitization, ensuring that innovations translate into tangible, positive impacts without fear on society and business. And your track record of successfully aligning digital strategies with core values has made you to a go-to leader for navigating the complexities of fast-changing digital landscape, inspiring others through visionary leadership and practical result-driven solutions. And for me, you are a real leader because you're somebody who is really close to the team, but also very close to your authentic me, without also jumping over challenges, and being also authentic in these, without making this the words has to know about this idea, right?
Yeah, thank you for this nice introduction. I'm feeling flattered.
Um, what would your family, or how would your family describe you if they should?
I think like I think I have two sides in me for the family. So one is, of course, like I'm a driver. I'm a person who drives, organizes things, and
Mhm.
keeps things moving and going. And of course, like this is something that I cannot shave off when I'm coming home. So that's clear. On the other side, I'm also the cook of the family. So, and that's also like one part of me that is like yeah, a way of showing love and care to my friends and family, and
Mm.
by preparing something nice and then sitting together and laughing together, because I think that's also something that is very close to me, that I think like if you can laugh together, you can live together, you can work together. So
Yeah.
that's really important to me. And when is not the best time to have a good laugh? When you have dinner or lunch together.
That's right. What is the best recipe, or your best recipe, or where others says, okay, if I think about Ola's cooking, cooking, what is it? What one comes up?
I think like especially now in this time of the year, it's like bœuf bourguignon. So like a long cooked stew, of course, like with a good wine, of course, with some influences of the French cuisine,
Mm.
and then together like with a very thoroughly done potato mash. So that's
Mm.
something that I really love to do, and I think it's perfect for this like cold time that we're having now. Maybe not the perfect summer dish. There, I have to invent something else.
Yeah, that's right. And what would you say is about this food trend? Because I mean, the that recipe you told me, and there's meat in it. So the vegans listening here would say, "Oh my God, what's that?"
Of
Does
course.
does he has also a meat-free?
Actually, of course, like that's true. I'm eating meat, but I really try to look like for good quality. So we have like an ecological a butcher in the city, in the street next to us, and so I try to at least buy good meat for that, and then really appreciate it. But
Yeah,
that's a constant discussion that we're also having, like how to live more healthy, how to reduce, and not only, of course, like from the health perspective or the animal rights perspective, but also from a climate perspective.
yeah.
And one initiative, for example, that I did like several years ago for the German organization was that I changed the practice of having meat at company events. Because
Mm.
especially when you have company events and you have these large buffets, you see that there is a lot of waste and you
Yeah.
cannot really like deal with it, because you never know how much people will eat and you don't want to have too little food for a company event. So I
Mm-hmm.
said, it's okay, we can have a company event, but then let's not waste meat. It doesn't
Mm.
make sense. And I think it was like 5 years ago or even 6 years ago when I did this also together with the first Christmas party and doing a vegetarian Christmas party.
Oh, wow.
That got a lot of attention and also discussion in the company. But until that, like whenever we have a buffet situation, there
Yeah.
is no meat.
That's great. And what do you think about this like meat products? I mean, often there's critics about these like meat products, just as, for example, they look like meat, but there is a lot of artificial things in it, chemical stuff. So what about the truth of this food?
Yeah, I think like for me, it's more about like high processed food.
Yeah,
I want to stay like close to the nature and to the product. And I think everyone who cooks or really loves cooking knows that everything comes with the quality of the product. And
yeah.
so I'm always a bit doubtful
Hmm.
about like all this like highly processed food. And this
Yeah.
is like from cereals to like me, sausage or something like that. I think that applies to all of that stuff.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. This highly processed food, I guess, is also often something which is supporting these psychosomatic illnesses, and all these, what more and more people are suffering by thinking that they have doing something good by eating something which is a so-called, but don't know exactly what it is.
Yeah.
And it's nice that you said that, and I completely agree with you. I mean, you are somebody who never did the way everybody does. You started also before you studied already with IT. You got already very early experience in this, and it was more important for you to get things done than to get your studies done. But you managed also that. And I think, I mean, I know this because I did this too, to do studies besides working. This is hard and can be really, really tough because it needs somebody who's organized. It needs also the environment to play the part you would like to to play. Can you share with us maybe a few moments how you dealt with challenges during this time?
Yes, I just had a colleague that is also like doing the same. And then I was also like remembering a bit of the time when I did this, like working 8, 10 hours, sometimes 12 hours, and then in the evening going still to the university.
Yeah,
Um, and I said, and she also like was agreeing with me, like if your engine is already running,
yeah,
then it's like easier to continue. But if you just have a stop in the middle and then you slow down, then of course it's very hard to get up. For me, like in the weekdays, it was
yeah.
pretty easy to know, like just continue working. I was also like younger than now, but and then
Mhm.
having like not like a 10 hours day, like having like a 14 hours day or 16 hours day, that was okay. The hardest part for me was always like getting up on Saturdays, because I also had like to study on Saturdays. And for me, like having sometimes like some party on a Friday, or like meeting some people and then getting up on Saturday in the morning, being tired of the week. That was the hardest part for me, and that really needed some I say like discipline. At the end, it's all about discipline. I really believe that a lot of success comes to discipline and luck. So
Yeah.
there are both factors, but it's hard to be lucky when you're not disciplined.
That's right. And I mean, I think you experienced discipline also in a very serious situation, or very serious situations, because you didn't go to military. You went to a acute lab at the German Heart Center. Was it also that you were confronted there with what disciplines means? Also, in the end, if it comes to quick actions, really the right actions, and also a really, yeah, so-called, we don't need to talk with us, but we have to act together in a collaborative way as if we are one brain activities.
Yeah, I think like that was like first very important, like a school of life. After school, finishing school, we at that time was in Germany was mandatory to either go to the military or do civil service. So I chose civil service, and then
Mhm.
I went to this acute lab of the German Heart Disease Center, and that one thing was it was started very early in the morning. So that was the first thing that I had to learn. Go up very early, be there at 7:30 every
Mhm.
day. And then it was like that we had like this blood test samples that have to be done twice a day. So you had a
Mhm.
huge wave of like blood samples that had to be done in a certain period of time. And
Yeah,
everyone had to work together. And you know that if you mess it up, it really has a direct impact on like the health of a patient. So it's not that you can just, it's 7:30, you have to be up and running and then work together with your colleagues. And that was a very interesting experience. And it, of course, taught me a lot. And I really benefited of that like early discipline later in my work life. Yeah.
and it's interesting because some people say that something like this can't go along with working agile or democratic, but of course it has not some this can go along, but it's on a completely level, isn't it?
Yeah, I think also like I'm a strong believer that if things get complex, you also need to have clear structure. And that's what you also see like in the health sector. So you can work very collaboratively and creative, but at the same time, there has to be structure and there has to be procedure that you have to follow and that you can cling back to if it gets too complex. So
Yeah.
we have to have a safe space. And that you see in a hospital very often. So I think that's a perfect example of both worlds if it's
Mhm.
balanced in the right way.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. And you are somebody, I mean, we talked until now a lot about business, but we talked also a lot about people and also about behavior. private life means a lot to you. You said you're a cook, and it seems that you are a great cook. So I got really appetite when you were describing that. But I'm eating really, really little meat. You got married on a very nice island, and you have 2 kids, and this means a lot to you. Can you combine it? And do you have special rituals with your family where you can get breathe again, where you get your power, where you also find the privacy and strengthen this environment we call family? And we have now 1 minute left, so I think it might be possible that we continue then after the break. But maybe a few words now.
I think for me, one thing is like really to create very like rituals is a very important part of that, and that is, for example, like keeping the weekends work free as much as possible, and then
The
having
whole weekend.
Huh?
The whole weekend.
I try to do that.
Wow,
So
that's
I
great.
travel a lot in the week, and I really work like very long hours in the week, but I try as much as possible to keep the weekend off. And I try to protect this heavily. So because then this means that I can see my kids still growing up, and they are 6 and 10 now, and that's an important time.
Yes, that's a very important time. And I think it's very important also to spend quality time with them. And quality time we can spend also again after the break. Read emails, and the pressure is so high to get rid of these that in the end it's then just a Sunday afternoon or the morning breakfast. And I think it did satisfy people because it puts you under pressure, and you can't fill the expectations of you and of your kids either, right?
Yeah, I think, and I always try to remember myself that, especially like I think business success is a marathon. It's not a sprint. So, and you have to like every marathon, you have to find the right pace. And this pace is like, of course, different to all of us. So everyone has their own pace. And I know what's the right pace for me to be consistent, and that I don't get burnout, that I don't get sick, that I can live a healthy life. And I also feel like if I'm feeling healthy, good connect with my family and all that, I can even be more successful and more powerful and have more energy and be more engaging in my work life. So I think everyone benefits from that, to keep this balance.
I think so too. And how do you manage it? I mean, 2 kids, a wife. Sometimes if you get a family father, a family mother, you forget about the life you had as being two. Do you have also special rituals with your wife to keep on going and developing your relationship?
Yes, of course, we also have that. So we try to do like this typical date nights, or we ask the grandparents to come over. I just recently had like a weekend together with my wife in Tallinn. So I was on a business trip to our headquarters in Estonia
Yeah,
and had a full week of work. And then she came on Friday to me, and we had a wonderful weekend together. So
nice.
taking this opportunities also when you're traveling to yeah, of course, it's always like some hassle to organize these things, but I think at the end you benefit from that, and you can share a bit also like of your life, because this is also important for me, that you also like share your reality with your partner. Yes.
That's right. And how is it about sharing reality with your kids? Is it that you can, from time to time, bring your kids also to work, that you see what you are doing, or do they just see you when you work home office?
I try not to work so much in the home office, because for me it's also very important to have a clear distinction in between like
Yeah,
work and private life. So of course I can work from home, but I do this like very seldom. But actually, like just my older daughter just had like school holidays some weeks ago, and she followed like for 2 days with me to the office. Of course, after a while it got a bit boring, but it was funny to have her here, and also that she got an impression like how it is like having calls, and yes, was a fun experience for both of us.
I think this is great. And will you do this also with your younger, with your younger daughter, or do you think she's still too young with 6 years?
Yeah, I think like now she's like started school this year, so she
Yeah.
gets like more into this like bit work world as such. But actually, like my younger daughter really likes to build things, you know, with like paper and to create. She's a great creator, so maybe she would enjoy the office because we have so much stuff here, like scissors and papers and pens. Maybe it's a good idea. I should consider.
I think it's great for kids to join very early to see which reality the parents have besides the time they are sharing, and to understand also what it means for the parents, and that they just are sometimes in their frames and can't get out if the kids wish them to do so. And it might be also that you are then a better role model, right? That they can see what they want and what they don't want, but maybe they want to go into your footsteps and be then in a similar role.
Yeah.
You, I mean, it's very close that you, with your background and your values, stepped into sustainability. Um, if you have to describe the sustainability and what it means really holistically for you, how would you describe sustainability?
I think like it's a, how to say, like a reasonable approach to using resources overall. So I think that's the main, like to be like thoughtful about resources. Also like what has been, like what was the energy that has created these kind of resources, and now being thoughtful in using them. I think that's the main approach for me to
Yeah.
sustainability, because that also, like, I think raises the right questions. So do we really need that at the moment?
Mhm.
Should we consider like doing it differently? Why are we doing things? And of course, sometimes this is touching like privilege and touching also like behaviors that we're having that are like very, yes, learned from a long while back. But I think I
Mhm.
like this challenging dialogue. But at the end, we also have to be able to adopt this in our day-to-day life. Yeah, I think there's also something like the same thing with the marathon. At the end, also sustainability is a marathon, and we cannot do sprints and overdo it. Yeah.
It's great that you're seeing this. I like this comparison because a lot of people think that they have to do over activities, and the result we get out of this is frustration. Is that these people who are doing this and try to put then some lies around it, because the reality is not that what we wish, and in the end, it doesn't help anybody because it puts sustainability in a corner where it doesn't belong to, of lies, of regulations, of frustration and aggression. And I completely agree with you. We have to learn to do the marathon. We are used, and we think that everything can go with a snip, just as digitization. And we forget that nature, I mean, growing a tree is not just like this. It's it's something which takes years, centuries, sometimes hundreds of years. And I was attending a magic show from the Ehrlich brothers a few days ago,
Mhm.
and my kid was attending too, and he was super fascinated by a seed a magician took and put into earth, and then a kid could come on stage and put some water on it, and within 1 minute, it was a huge tree. And he said,
Okay.
"Oh my God, this is solving every sustainability problem."
No, that's funny. Yes. No, I really think it's a marathon, and I also think that sustainability is something that we should look at holistically. So it's not just about like carbon consumption; it's also about like the social aspects as well. It's about the impact that we are doing. It's about also, like in the corporate world, a lot about governance. I think
Yes.
like it's like the typically ESG. So, but often people forget about the G. So it's also the governance aspect. To have a good governance is a very important part of like being a good corporate citizen, but also I think like for an economy to grow into the right direction. So this is like my view on that.
Do you think that a lot of people hasn't understood it and still think that sustainability is a kind of so-called just getting your ticks, doing what other people expect, doing what other regulations ask you for?
I think like now that I am working in an international environment and see like different countries, and I see very different approaches to that. And
Mhm.
unfortunately, for example, like in Germany, we see a lot more of that, like setting the tick in the box and really like just doing everything regarding governance and
Mhm.
and compliance. In the Nordics, I see a really like very different mindset. In the Nordics, I see a lot more like of the impact-driven thinking, and also from a business perspective to say like, how can we actually use resources? How can we even like have higher margins by doing that? So it's not that this is just something that we do altruistic. It's also something that has a business acumen behind that. And then in the UK, for example, I think we have this very strong idea of social value. That is something that you really see in the UK, and that did not really get adopted into other regions at the moment. So this also comes, of course, like with a lot of regulation and compliance, but at the same time, it puts another or a different narrative into the question of sustainability, and also the connection that business should have with communities. Yeah, so that's a different demand. We don't see that around the world.
And I mean, you're describing this, and I think a lot of people know that Scandinavian countries are fast more there where others would love to be if it comes to civil rights, if it comes also to female male rights, if it comes to family life combined with strong roles in high positions, that kids are first and family as first. If it comes to digitization in schools, there's so much Scandinavian countries do much better. Why does it come to that other countries are not adapting that? I mean, Germany, for example, if I look into the country and if I look at some schools, many schools, this is not a picture I like to see. And I'm feeling sad for many kids have to attending schools which are not forcing this idea of which is spread out in Scandinavian schools.
I think of course, I don't know how to cure that, but what I can just see like is the difference that I spot is that often in the Nordics, people are, even if they're like getting older, still open for a change.
Yes.
So that's a huge difference. So we had like a birthday party of my parents-in-law, and my mother-in-law, she became 16. So she had a lot of friends coming over to Berlin, and we just organized a little party for them. And then I was talking to them, and actually like 80% of the crowd was like coming from around Stockholm, Sweden, all across the country. And they came by train. And then I asked them, like, why didn't you take the plane? Because, you know, it's so easy to take a plane from Stockholm, from Gothenburg, Malmö, and so on to Berlin. I said, like, why did you? And they said, but Ole, you know, like climate change. And, you know, they were all like 60 plus 5 minus 5 years plus minus. So I was like really like in a positive way puzzled, because I was thinking like, would I see the same in the same like peer group in Germany? I don't know.
No,
Yeah.
I
And
don't
it
think
was
so.
like taking a lot of them, because like, you know, like taking the German Bahn and then going for Denmark to Sweden. It wasn't like a very soft trip for them, but still they
Yeah.
took that. And I think
How many hours?
hmm?
Ola, how many hours was it? Can you share this?
Like it takes you about like 12 hours. Yeah, and you could just do like a 3-hour trip by plane. So it's like with the airport, because it's like if you fly to Copenhagen, it's 20 minutes, and then so you're just taking the ferry on the other side, or the bridge. So it's, or Stockholm is like 2 hours from Berlin. So yeah, I
Wow.
was really positively surprised, but it was more about this like ability to adopt.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's one thing that we really all, I think, like we all need to be able to embrace this change. And my work life changed like 180-degree after Corona. Really, it's really changed. Also, like how to be a leader, how to work with team. Like I used to be like very much in the office. I loved to talk with people like informally. And now we have all these like video calls, so it's different. I also had to relearn how to lead teams virtually.
I can imagine. I mean,
That's one thing that we all, I think, have to adopt, the ability to change.
because I mean, you said emotionally, and this is a word which gives me the link to ask you this question. Because I mean, if you are together with people virtually, you just see a part of them. You don't see often what they do with their hands, how they are staying. It is not that it's a one-to-one meeting, but you get impressions of eye, face, everything as a few seconds later. So how could you improve this, or what did you do to improve this?
I think what I really try is that at least like once in a while to meet the teams and meet the people in person. Because like if you know someone like from like in personal encounter, it's much easier to read this person and then also like into like in video situation to get a sense, are they doing well? Is there something? Should you address something? And also it's much easier to also like talk a bit informally about like the private life and so on. So I think there is no way around of meeting people. Of course,
Mhm.
sometimes it's hard. I also have like a team in Canada, so with the time zone and with the travel, that's not that easy to meet that often. The other thing, what I really think is like to try to address that very openly.
Mhm.
Also like to agree on certain rules. So I'm pretty open about like how to reach me, what's the
Yeah.
best way, how to communicate. I also ask that from my peers, like what's important for you. Yeah,
Mhm.
whenever we have such a situation, we need to be more open and then we need to agree on things openly. I think that helps also.
Mhm. Yeah, that's right. And I mean, you said you gave us the citation and motto: "Those who can laugh together can work together." I love that you wrote that, because I sometimes feel that we're in a society which is on the one hand too serious or too depressed, too negative, and on the other hand too fancy, too funny, but not in a real way of being humorous or just living love and laughter and humor.
Yeah, but that also like requires, from my point of view, that you question your own culture and that you're open to other cultures, because also humor is something that can be very different in different cultures. Something that
Yes.
is very funny in one part of the world is very unfunny in another one. So also like being open about that and also understanding that and also like talking openly about that is something that is helping a lot. But like for me, getting into an international role, I really had to question my culture a lot more and being much more open and also asking myself, okay, why do I react to that in that matter? Yeah, that's really important.
Yeah, that's right. Um, Unfortunately, our talk comes to an end, and I would like to ask you to share a few hacks with us, maybe from how to keep yourself organized, what are you doing for your beauty and wellness routine and longevity routine. It could be also some great Scandinavian hacks or Scandic hacks.
I think for me, what's really important, what I can just recommend is like really to exercise regularly. So I
Mhm.
just do like 3 times a week, half an hour exercise, and that really keeps the machine going. And that's like really all about consistency. And it also like shuts your head off a bit. So even if you're stressed and you do exercise, it forces you to forget. And
Mhm.
that's a good thing. And then to breathe and come back. And often then you find a solution to things where you thought that they are not that you're not able to find a solution there. The next part, I think, is also like delegate. We often do too much by ourselves because we don't dare to delegate. I think it's about like something to be brave to delegate and to learn and to trust people and give like trust in advance. And I think we all should like always, when we feel like overworked, we should look at ourselves and ask, did I take all the opportunities that I had to delegate? Because if I delegate a task, I give other people the opportunity to grow. So
Mhm.
that, I think my two things, like personally, exercise and professional delegate. These are the two most important hacks.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much, Ola. I'm very happy that we could have you today in the talk show. And I wish we could talk longer, because I know that you have much, much more to say. And I'm looking forward to staying in contact with you. So now we are heading further to the next small break. So please stay tuned, and we will move forward afterwards with this great book.